Welcome back to Rain on Your Parade with J-L Cauvin. I'm J-L Cauvin here, as always, with producer Mike. Hello, producer Mike.
Hi, everybody. Hi, JL. How you doing? How you feeling? What's going on?
Well, you know how I'm feeling. We had a little pre-show meeting.
As we always do.
This is, I feel like mentally I'm sort of at that Walter White stage 4 cancer, but I've invented the hot new meth. Mm-hmm. So that's how I feel. Not literally, people. Not that you care, but I'd be offended if my fans started to care then.
Now that you finally invented the hot
No. If I had stage 4 cancer, I'd be like, no. Too late. Yeah. Too late. Even where, anyway, weird beginning to the show. The point is I have to explain metaphors to my audience.
Yeah, I got you.
That was the real point of that.
Yep. I'm with you.
A few quick things that you're going to want to stay for the comedy talk tonight. Okay, or this morning, or 5 years from now, whenever you discover this in the ruins of humanity. But you're going to want to stay for comedy talk. It's got the usual, but it's also got some important. The punchdown of the week is a more profound, important punchdown. Yeah. It really gets to the core of the laughing, the crying clown of punchdown of the week. We really get to the core of it with this week. But a few things. I obviously. When you listen to this or watch this episode, January 20th, which is Inauguration Day for Donald J. Trump, the now soon to be 47th president of the United States. Also, Martin Luther King's birthday. What a horrible birthday present. What did you bring for MLK's birthday? A fat racist who hates black people. Oh, okay. Inappropriate gift. Even worse than wearing white at a wedding.
Well,
So my special as Donald Trump goes up. I've been posting the preview. Of course, Mike, as you would imagine, the 59-second trailer for the special to get people hyped up. Lowest viewed video on Twitter in like 3 years. Mm-hmm. Like the algorithm decided to take an extra shit on me. Yeah. It was like he's starting to show perseverance through the trials and tribulations of being a comedian on social media. Can we downgrade him again? I think he's optimistic about something. So thank you, Elon Musk. Also, I've got sign up, please, for if any of you forgot to and think you might, dictatorforadayShow.com would love you signing up for the newsletter there or the updates on that show. That's the people on Patreon have heard the full review from the Broadway critic, who really, it was practically pornographic how much praise I got for my role as Donald Trump in that show. But that's a reminder. Obviously, I have a Patreon. But if $3 a month is too much, maybe you could sign up for Dictator for a Day show updates so that we have a larger email list and can use that as one of the many marketing tools that we hope to put out in the next month. So mostly free stuff there promoted. I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina, February 28th. I'm in Henderson, Nevada, and Las Vegas, Nevada, March 28th, 29th. Details are on my website, jlcomedy.com. Yada, yada, yada. I wrote some good blogs recently, blah, blah, blah. Nobody gives a shit. Okay, two things to share, and then we're going to take a quick break. There's not a lot of info
Quick break.
Well, because we're going to talk fires, Mike. We're going to talk fires and floods. Real biblical shit today on the podcast. But I have been watching. I just finished the miniseries. I've been telling everybody I can on Hulu. Say Nothing. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, best miniseries I've seen since Chernobyl.
Well, who's in it? I don't know if I've heard.
Nobody. It's Irish. It's based on this like.
Oh, is that based on the
troubles in Northern Ireland?
So it's like the IRA stuff. Yeah. Okay, I did see that. It did look cool.
Yeah, the book was phenomenal. And the series really lives up to the book. Like it is. Yeah. I would recommend both books. But it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. So I really recommend it. And then I went to see Tosca at the Met. Oh yeah, this Sunday with Laura and her whole family. It was good. It's opera. I sort of, that's one of those things that I like believe in spirit, not in practice, where I'm like, I like that old arts survive. But it was interesting. There were some young people, some foreigners, very old, though it skews very old at the Met. But it was weird was there were several elderly people using walkers and things, but like 80, 82, 85. And some guy in his 60s, I'd say early 60s, I'm just walking by and I hear him say to somebody, it's like half the audience here is crippled. And I was just like, is that what you now call it when you're 85?
Bitch being crippled.
I don't think that's technically crippled in the brute sense of the word. Sure. I feel like that's just
the biblical sense.
You're aged.
Yeah.
But it was interesting. Only 2 phones went off during the show, although one went off for an extended period of time at the death of one of the primary characters.
Great.
So that seemed very bad. I feel like a place like the Met should be like sanctioned to behead you if your cell phone goes off. Like, we practice an ancient art and we're allowed to use ancient forms of justice for your rudeness. But it's, the Lincoln Center is just, it's too bad there aren't like esports or something there, because I think a lot of people would really get into Lincoln Center if there were like video game tournaments, because it's an absolutely gorgeous space. It's like it's like an artistic crown jewel of New York City. It's so you just could walk around it, and you almost want to be like, I want to go to something here, because it's so nice. Obviously, I'm more of a Philharmonic type guy. Mm-hmm. But Laura wants to go to the ballet next year, and we saw Robert Downey Jr.'s play. That was at Lincoln Center, so sort of one of those like very artistic sort of things. So that was good. But Tosca, 2 cell phones, that disappointed me, obviously, because Broadway is full of trash these days. But I thought, these ancient folk, they're not gonna sit idly by while
in defense
phones go off.
of the elderly. Maybe they just didn't know how to turn it off.
But it might not have been the elder. You don't.
It might not have been. That's true.
It might have been an influencer or something who was like
an opera influencer.
Yeah. They're trying to carve out. As TikTok goes away, they're like, is there any space that hasn't been explored on this platform yet for influencing? So that's that. And last thing I'll say before the break. This is just catching people up on housekeeping, the things they either can ignore or shouldn't ignore, but will still ignore. I tried to cut the cord, Mike.
Cable?
Yeah.
I
tried to cut the cord. Now, I'm going to give some raw data to the people. They love that.
Okay.
I'm sure they love that. I don't know what they love. Maybe they're data people. Maybe they like numbers.
Just trying everything at this point.
Yeah, just here's a numbers segment for you folks who haven't enjoyed comedy, politics, social criticism, cultural commentary, baseball, sports, random rants, anything. My bill each month is $232. That's for high-speed internet, like a full basic cable package.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and a phone. And a landline. Of course, I have a landline.
Yeah,
Mike.
of course.
Come on.
Yeah.
It is a lot. Fios originally, when we moved in, we've been there 5 years. We have the same cable. So, it just keeps incrementally going up.
Right.
So it was probably like 160, 170 when we moved in 5 years ago. And it's just like we had that 2 year locked in, and some of the deals were like 3 years locked in. But now we're at $232. Okay. So I said, that's too much. No. How dare you? Too much. So I say, let's cut the cord. Let's be like all these douchebags. Let's cut the cord.
Douchebags.
No, because I'll tell you why they're douchebags. Because they're fooling themselves into thinking they're gaming the system. Unless they are stealing things.
Well,
I'm about to break down.
Go ahead.
Why this is garbage. So I first say, okay, we want MSG. And James Dolan is a particularly New York-centered villain in this story. And I kind of respect it.
Oh, wait. Before we go any further, because I've heard of what's been going on in the news with this. Verizon was your provider?
Yeah. No, my mom has Optimum. And she is like, my mom was...
Because MSG is leaving Optimum. Yeah.
My mom is old and has been a loyal Knicks fan. She's a Ewing Knicks lady.
Sure.
But she's really enjoyed, she liked Randall and she really likes Brunson. So she's really enjoyed this resurgence with sort of relatable, like Brunson's a relatable guy.
Definitely.
He looks a little chubby.
Yep.
He's like 6 feet tall.
Yep.
You're like, I like that guy.
Works hard. Yeah.
Insanely talented. Insanely great at basketball. But like there's been a real resurgence. Josh Hart is a real like Starks, Oakley, Mason
lunch pail
2.0.
Yeah.
Like an advanced, the new version of that kind of one game. I have 4 points, but as a 6'4" guard, 15 rebounds.
Yeah.
So my mom was almost, and it's age and everything. She was almost in tears at like not having Optimum. Do you see what you're doing, James Dolan? Old women are crying because they can't access the Knicks. So I go and I say, okay, so where can I get, all I'm looking for is MSG and CNN. On top of all the everything else from Hulu, everything else is like accessible through the streaming platforms. So I say, okay, MSG. So I go, okay, well, HBO Max has CNN.
Yep.
Except they don't anymore.
Did they take it off?
They only have like CNN programming.
Oh.
Which is a huge fuck up for me.
Because for a while they did have a stream.
Yeah, CNN, they tried to come up with CNN Plus.
No, but they had a stream on
HBO Max,
right? Yeah.
Because it's a Time Warner. So I was like, well, that's done. So now we just have to figure out what's the cheapest way to get MSG once we cut the cord. And we're good. We'll be saving $60, $70 a month. If we just, because most of my news is CNN and MSG. Okay. Well, MSG is only available through the Gotham Sports app, which is $30 a month, or on Fubo for us by ourselves, and DirecTV, which is a non-starter. Yep. So it's like, okay, Fubo is $75 a month. It's basically a slightly cheaper version of Hulu TV. Okay, YouTube TV raised their rates. It's so funny. And I'm so glad Lena Khan of the FTC will no longer be hunting down companies who are price fixing and creating monopolies. Because I'm like, it's so weird how YouTube TV and Hulu TV and this new fucker Fubo TV are all kind of in the same price range. Uh-huh. How weird. Yeah. How weird that they all magically kind of came to the same relative price point. And then you have Sling TV. Now, Sling TV is out there doing like the JetBlue Southwest Lord's work. Mm-hmm. They're at this low. Now they're limited, but they'd be perfect, but for MSG.
Right.
So I do the math and I'm like, Xfinity, what can I get? And Xfinity was like, we haven't had MSG for 2 years. And I felt so bad. The guy was very helpful. And I was like, I'm going to save you time right now. And I'm sorry to do this. I'm looking for MSG. I don't know if you know this, but I'm jinxing the entire Rangers franchise right now. There's the Curse of 1940 and the J-L Jinx. Those are the twin towers destroying Rangers history.
Yeah.
So I need MSG. So you've got James Dolan sitting there just going like, James Dolan was a dick before.
Yeah.
Now the Knicks are good.
Yeah.
He was acting like he had championship material 5 years ago.
Right.
So they're not an Xfinity Comcast. So this is a real fuck you just to New Jersey, New York. Like if I have Comcast in Ohio, I'm happy probably.
Yeah.
I'm not missing MSG. Yeah. So I do the math and I add up and every possibility that just to get CNN and MSG, the only combinations that will get me there, like $206 a month is like the best I can do. So I'm like, well, fuck it. I'll stay with Fios for $232 and just be like not inconvenienced and I'll live my life the way I'm living it. And it just made me think of the tech people. And then we're going to go to break, Mike. This, of course, had to have a societal repercussion. Uh-huh. Just like I talked about rideshare, the tech people, don't they make everything better and more convenient? What we have done, very simply, folks, is we have said, I don't like cable TV. I'm going to stick it to cable TV. I'm cutting the cord. Within a year or two, if not already, really, based on what I've said, it will be more expensive. They will Lyft and Uber your ass to the point where you will beg for Comcast and Spectrum. And by the way, RCN in Manhattan, if you can get RCN, greatest cable company ever.
I had it for Wi-Fi for a little bit.
RCN was the best.
Yeah.
The best. Shout out RCN. This is not a paid sponsorship.
Pretty cheap. When I had it was like $60.
But it was this is why competition is good and not in that Republican way. Like, I want to be able to make more money and have more whores.
Yeah.
That's why we like competition. No, RCN carved out this little niche where they were never going to be the big guy.
Right.
But boy, oh boy, could they deliver you good product and service to their lane.
Yeah.
And then we crush those. And that's what streaming is now doing. Like, just like people hate Barnes and Noble. Well, you know what? Now we got Amazon. And I'm sure we're all going, but I like Amazon. Well, you fucking suck. Okay? Because Amazon fucking sucks. And it does. It's a piece of shit. It's a big, huge Jurassic Park Triceratops pile of shit. And we all love it because it's like, well, I get to go blah, blah, blah. And I get to blah, blah. So Amazon's good. While your fucking workers are pissing in bottles and killing themselves. Great. So what we've done now is we're so hip and cool and we fucked over the cable companies. Take that. Well, they still have the internet. They still got that fucking ace in their pocket. They're like,
you still need Verizon.
You're not going to take our TV? Okay, well, we've got the internet, you dumb fucks. Enjoy paying $350 where bad daddy Comcast was going to charge you $200. Now you can pay $350 and be fucking cool. Now you can be cool and you got us, wink. So on that note, we're going to talk about something much more positive. Fires in California when we return. And we're back. Mike, how was that break?
Fabulous break. Fabulous break as always.
I felt like I was generating real heat.
You were. There was Vince McMahon level heat.
Well, and it's an unfortunate pun that I'm generating heat because I want to talk about the big story in America, the fires in California, which of course are the result of pride flags going up in flames.
That's what they say. DEI.
Yeah, DEI. I wrote something on social media about this, and I've been trying to read as much as I can just to see what the valid criticisms are, et cetera. But when you hear certain firefighters say things like there aren't enough firefighters in California to fight that, that doesn't sound like a wokeness issue. That sounds like a Mother Nature. I feel like you can have many problems with what's going on. I don't think it's a good look that Mayor Karen Bass was in Ghana. Not a good look during fire. Even though she had been sort of receiving, from what I read, fairly good marks for her tenure so far, that's not a good look. Optics count.
Yeah.
How you feel. Rudy Giuliani was a raving piece of shit.
Right.
But he was there
Handled
on 9/11
great.
Walking around the wreckage. Literally put the command center in the World Trade Center against advice.
Yeah.
Literally did so many wrong things, but he was there. He was providing visual and real comfort during a disaster.
Built himself a legacy.
Yeah.
That he quickly destroyed in 2014 on.
Yeah. I think, you know what? I respect him for that.
Yeah.
It's almost like he said, I didn't deserve this.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I didn't deserve to be a hero. So, but this idea, I saw Scott Jennings, to me, the definition of smarmy, he is a Republican guy who's the star of the 10 o'clock hour on CNN.
Yeah.
He's the heel. He's always smirking and he's always going, he'll mention DEI and wokeness and breaking leaves. And then somebody will say climate change. I don't know there's any evidence of climate change. So the Trump MAGA world is riding so high. They don't even have to concede a fact.
Yeah.
They are allowed to just walk in their own truth. For a party that hates liberals talking about their own truth or their identity, they live in a fucking fiction. But of course, it doesn't count when it's right wing.
Right.
When it's right wing, it's a solid, genuine, factual truth. But when a liberal feels something different, it's like some fruity tooty bullshit. Well, climate, the idea that we are at this point and we still can't do anything about climate change. And I had somebody, I think they lived in New Orleans, on Twitter, kind of not going after me, but I basically said, here's the thing: the Republicans, when it's a hurricane in a red state, we've got to help these people. And then they'll lie and say Democrats aren't doing enough. Mm-hmm. It's never good enough to just be let's join hands and do something. Because the last time Republicans and Democrats joined hands to help people, Chris Christie lost his chance at being president.
Right. Yes.
His people were dying and he hugged President Obama in a show of gratitude and unity, and he was done. He could no longer be a Republican nominee for president because he had hugged a black man. And just like they say, you watch any slave movie, the only thing worse than being a slave is a slave who accidentally helps a white person and takes their dignity by providing them with assistance. Because then you get you think you're better than me.
Yeah. That's
even worse. And that was Chris Christie's moment. 12 years an obese man. It was so we're at this so when a natural disaster hits in a red state, it's red state people say we got to do something, blue state people say we got to do something, and red state politicians, I should say, go, they're dragging their feet, they're not doing enough, because you can't just be together. You've got to always take an opportunity, whether true or false, to shit on Democrats during a tragedy, during a non-tragedy. It's always got to be that. And then I think of the one time, obviously, in a red state where people were saying, well, we shouldn't rebuild. Do you know what that was, Mike? Do you know what part of what red state that was?
Louisiana.
Yeah, but specifically?
New Orleans.
What sets New Orleans apart as far as some red states? It's a very black city.
Yes.
That was the only time I remember Republicans being very pragmatic about when a city should be abandoned.
Yeah, right.
They were like, what the fuck are we going to do here?
Right.
Get the fuck out of here with my jumbo. That they were like, we're done. No, this is ridiculous to rebuild this.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Only time I've ever heard Republicans talk about it being Miami. That place is going to be floating one day.
Yeah.
Never, because all our rich Cuban fucking real estate grifters are there. And Texas, we got to rebuild Texas.
Right.
We got to rebuild.
Yeah, Houston, right.
We have a problem, and the problem is Democrats aren't acting fast enough to rebuild our flood-prone cities. That's our one problem, Houston. So we get this very thick double standard, like incredible. And there's no Democrats going, we shouldn't rebuild Houston. Fuck that. Maybe we should. Maybe we should just say, fuck you, you red state morons. You can't get flood insurance, so we have to pay for it.
Yeah.
Blue states have to pay for your flood insurance. That sounds bullshit. And I said, so looking at the way they respond, it's very hypocritical on the part of red states. And then I say, okay, and with fires, we got to rebuild. And both California, should we rebuild? Should we? They're loving the fact that LA is on fire.
I'm sure, yeah.
And
Hollywood specifically.
And I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't love it when Trump got nicked in the ear. So I can play that game too. No, but in all seriousness, it's like this double standard of like and my thing is, as a presidential candidate,
yes,
would be to acknowledge we can't have an actual real talk. Because what should happen is we should be doing everything we can to lower carbon emissions. We should be rebuilding necessary places. Mm-hmm. And we should be doing a federal program to encourage people to relocate to safer places by the millions. I know, but J.L., that's crazy talk. Of course it is. Because we fucking suck as a country. Not because it's the wrong idea. In earlier times, in other countries, there have been like relocation programs and things. Because we want it both ways. We want to say climate change is fake. So we're not going to do anything about what's causing this. Okay, well then we're going to move. Right? Like we're going to move to safe. No, you can't tell me to move. Okay, well we're not insuring your home. Well, fuck that. Government's got to pay for it. Oh, what's that? You want government handouts now? The hypocrisy is so incredible. Where these are going to get worse, and we're just going to play the same game until we're all on fire or drowning. Now, Mike, if you know your scripture, you know the Lord said he was never going to send us a flood again. So it will be the fires that will get us.
It seems like that way already, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So when I look at this, it's bothering me a lot. And I had somebody say to me, like, kind of questioning me. I think they were somebody from New Orleans and saying, you're saying like it's so easy to move. And I go, I'm not saying it's easy to move, but it's easier to move than to fucking survive a 1,000,000-acre fire.
Yeah.
Or 20-foot waves. And we are in this paralysis. But the problem is on the left, I don't think they ever want to say something too harsh, which would be like fucking move. Mm-hmm. You know, I think what I would love to see never happen if we just took 1 million liberals in Los Angeles and split them up 10 ways into 10 battleground states and said, now Republicans go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Okay, you got what you wanted. The God is punishing for the trans kid playing volleyball in Nebraska, so the Lord has smite us. So just go to 10 different states. Yeah. A democratic relocation program, 10 battleground states. George Soros and a bunch of other donors just like give you $100,000 grant to move somewhere.
New Hollywood in Kansas.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's a battleground though. I'm talking.
Oh, you want
Nevada?
Okay,
you got to go to Nevada, Texas. We'll give you $200,000.
Nevada, you can easily rebuild Hollywood in Nevada. It's pretty close as it is.
Nevada, whatever, North Carolina, Georgia. You get the point. But I have been sort of appalled at the kind of instant callousness of the Republicans to a lot of this. When kids get shot in schools, you cannot bring up gun laws.
Yeah.
That is politicizing a tragedy. What Republicans do the equivalent of is walk into a school in the middle of a school shooting, mid massacre, and go, well, I'm blaming the left for this. Pew, pew. Obviously, this is trans kids' fault. Goodbye. I'm going to leave now. Like, the fires are burning. The people are dying.
Yeah.
And they're like, Karen Bass is pathetic. Gavin Newscum. Donald Trump called Gavin Newsom Gavin Newscum. Did Joe Biden call like Republicans stupid and like governors of any red states pieces of shit during any tragedies or natural disasters?
I don't think so. I can't recall.
Yeah. I mean, he might have. Yeah. He might have. You know, the media would probably suppress that, Mike. You gotta remember that. But I just think this isn't going to be, I don't think it's going to be a long topic because I get to dinner and Mike hates it when I go more than 20 minutes. But
not true.
And let me ask you, I'm sorry, what are your thoughts? That's a good way for me to take a pause.
Well, I mean, I think this is one of the first time. I mean, there's been fires in LA for a while now. I feel like
California, LA, but not like there have been in the surrounding areas, but this is like like
Beverly Hills.
And when they said it looked like a bomb went off, until I saw the aerial shots, I was like, oh, it's too bad. And then I was like, oh my God. Yeah. It looks like it was attacked in war.
Well, yeah, this is the first time that something like this has happened.
But it won't be the last.
where I have,
I'm calling Mother Nature.
Do you want me to go or no?
Yeah.
This is the first time that I've checked in with most of my LA friends, and I think all of them, for the most part, or most of them at least, have either had to evacuate down to San Diego or somewhere around there. And I know people that have lost everything. This is the first time that's happened, where I have friends in my life who no longer have their house was burned down, and they had to get out of there so quickly. I guess like their driver's licenses are gone because they just burned in part of and I think until this does start happening in some of like the more red states, Louisiana aside,
black parts of Louisiana aside.
Yeah. Thank you for the distinction.
Yeah, like if Atlanta burns again, they won't be as sad as when Tecumseh Sherman did it.
Yeah, right.
They'll be like, well, it's not so bad this time. Tyler Perry Studios, who gives a fuck? But when my great granddaddy lost his plantation, that was Northern aggression.
Yeah. So I think that this is, knowing that this is probably this is the trend. I mean, we keep moving in this direction. And it does seem like the two things that we can't seem to fix in this country are the mass shootings, specifically school shootings, which we just cannot get any kind of grip on. And I think if we would have had a chance, I mean, we had a chance 20 years ago, or maybe a little bit longer or more, to try to get a grip on global warming, but I would assume at this point it's too far gone. You just have to start expecting crazier and crazier weather and natural disasters like this, and that'll be that. As a millennial, kind of coming into this, I'm 35 right now. I don't know what the next 30 years of my life are going to look like. I mean,
you'll be attending my funeral. I hope.
That's for sure.
Yeah,
yes.
that's
probably soon. No offense.
I thought the cancer thing was a metaphor.
But I mean, dude, this is like a legit, just add it to sort of the fears of like the quiet comforts of life, where you start thinking about like, oh, well, it's been, I've been disrupted and I want to just get back to like my normal life and blah, 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 blah. Really, what we think about as normal life of like American luxury is only a brief window of humanity. Before that, it was a nightmare to be alive. And it seems like post, I don't know what, like 2001, it's going to be just as bad.
I'm not disagreeing, but it is very funny to hear. Like, life was basically a nightmare.
It was. Dude, so you ever listen to 1776 or see it, the musical?
No.
It's a musical about them writing the Constitution.
Yeah.
Adams is basically the main character. It's Adams and Franklin. It's like their show basically.
Uh-huh.
And there's this song at the beginning of the play where it's Adams writing back to Abigail, and basically he's like checking in at home, and she writes back a letter that's basically like, the kids all have typhoid.
Right.
I
get what you're saying.
And like when you really think about where we were at, like that was life as a human being up until penicillin, basically. And then like the vaccines and the polio vaccines, which people are choosing to not take anymore. And you basically have this stretch of 1950 in America, at least for white people specifically, 1950 to like 9/11, essentially, where there's like a status quo of expectation of comfort, of like working a corporate job in an office and blah, 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 blah. And that's over, I think. And I think that now, like, my generation is kind of like reckoning with the fact that that's going to be the case. Forget jobs and all that stuff, which we've talked ad nauseum on this podcast about AI and all these things that are going to come take the jobs. Now you're in a situation where it's like, you might wake up one day and all of your neighborhood is on fire. That's what those people woke up to. They had to leave in such a huff that everything is gone. And we kind of keep living these sort of realities over and over, at least in the last 10 years or so. There's a pandemic, and then, I survived the pandemic. Well, now, the housing market is bad again. It's harder to get a job. Oh, now my house burned down and I have no fire insurance on my house. Now what do I do? So it's like you look ahead to the next 20 years, and it's just like, roll the dice. Anything could happen. Your house could be gone.
You're becoming successful. Like, I just want to make it clear there are some futures that are not possible.
Yeah, right. Fair enough.
But I will say this: like, you brought up two things that I want to address specifically. One is the idea of I can't get fire insurance, and other people can't get flood insurance.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to move.
Right.
And I'm not saying that flippantly. I'm not even saying that to an individual. As a society, and you brought it up, we can't do anything about guns. We can't do anything about climate.
Ever.
That is so stunning and pathetic at this point. It's pathetic. It's not like even upsetting. It's like what a sorry excuse for like way to like actively stop human evolution. Way to like left tackle any sense of evolution or improving humanity anymore. Way to like say no. This is where we end progress as a species. But the idea we can't insure all this shit anymore. The insurance industry is going to go bankrupt, and we're going to still be mad at them for not, like maybe they'll be the next target of Luigi. You didn't bankrupt. Yeah, I didn't insure your fucking house. It's built on a fireplace.
Yeah, but again, isn't this part of the problem? Like in the past, what would it have taken for somebody to not get their something like this insured? There's fucking commercials all over the place. Like, get your house insured with State Farm or whatever. But I mean, if they're now they're not going to do it. Thanks for telling me, 8 months before my house burned down.
But I'm not even speaking. I'm speaking in obviously generalities.
I know
the things we're not getting used to, which is like, okay, we'll honor this policy, and then our business will go out, and then you will not be able to insure your home. So I guess if you want to roll the dice with your life, but we're not in any like. You said something else in this. It was one thing I wanted to say was about insurance, and we won't adjust. Like, we can't do anything about climate change, but we're also not going to change.
No, I know, and that's what I mean. I think it's on all of us.
Like, shouldn't we all move? Shouldn't people move to Nebraska and Minnesota and places that are like whose climates are not as hot and where disasters don't hit maybe as often?
And maybe that'll happen. There's got to be a breaking point. At some point, you've got to look at it and just be like,
are we stupid though? Are we like like my dog Cookie will like lick her paw until it falls off, with her allergies.
Right.
Are we just like that?
Maybe. I'm trying to think of what it would take for me to move out of New York City, or at least the tri-state. And I do think that maybe at a
20-foot wave crashing on into Turtle Bay,
that would
drowning thousands. You'd be like, I don't want to risk this again.
Yeah, maybe that would be.
So I'm moving 10 blocks north.
Fine, I live in Washington Heights. But I understand. Like you feel, people feel very. What's the word I want to use? It feels like some places are your home. It's very hard to leave. You're in New York or you lived in Jersey. Now I'm sure there's some part of that must have been difficult. But
yeah, I cried when I left my apartment. I felt like a complete failure. But then I wrote a bit about it. So that's instead of dealing with issues, you just write a bit about it and you're fine.
But I mean, I think that I understand that, but maybe that is sort of a breaking point for people to just go like, why am I here?
Hey, everybody, look at the fucking Taylor Sheridan shows. It's all about white guys going to new places and striking up new. What we need some of that spirit.
Yeah,
go east, young man.
We'll go middle.
Yeah, go eastern. Go east, relatively east from where we are now.
Yeah,
but I feel very bad for people, but it's, and I'm not blaming anybody in this. And obviously my rage is often leaning towards the right. But if we had a frank conversation as a country, which we can't have, and that's what makes this so frustrating, is that it feels like every solution is just a rhetorical discussion.
Yeah.
There is no practical solution. It's like, we need to stop using carbon. We need to readjust our economy. We need to change the way we live. Yes, I'm all for building. In the 80s, when a lot of black mayors asked for more police due to the crack-induced crime waves, they also asked for, but we also want like more jobs and better schools and more funding for community services and things like that. So like it's a hand-in-hand approach.
Yeah.
And of course, of course the Republicans gave them all that. No, of course not. They said, cops, kill these blacks, throw them in jail, problem solved. No, but that is what happened. And so you had mayors asking for the carrot and the stick.
Yeah.
And the Republicans were like, here's 2 sticks.
Yeah.
And so that kind of mentality is sort of back again, where it's like, yeah, they're all going to be saying, we need infrastructure to fortify our coasts and you know what? If you want that, then you've got to start doing some things that will actually help long term. Like you want federal funds to build your fucking seawall. Obviously, New York wants to build a seawall, but like we're not really the biggest problem when it comes to fucking climate.
Yeah.
But if you said you've got to reach these benchmarks, great. And then you know what we'd do? We'd elect a Republican and say, fuck the benchmarks. And that's the dance we do. And we continue to get scared and need short-term solutions. We are never, ever willing to do the long-term solution, even if paired with a short-term solution. We are just like, no. And then the disaster gets worse and you go, give me more. I need more to help. And then the disasters get worse and you go, more. I'm voting you out. You didn't stop the fucking sun from burning up our planet.
Can I ask one question though? I know we got to take a break so you can do comedy talk.
Oh, I guess we have to take a break.
Well, you have it hard out, you said. All right. So last week we were talking a bit about congestion pricing.
Yes.
And what did I say was going to end up happening? That we didn't necessarily, the prices are going to go up. Maybe it will actually, people will drive less, and maybe that will be something that is like a long-term benefit for the environment. But I said I didn't trust where the money was going to go, how it was going to get spent. And I don't know if you saw this, but path prices are going up now. And I don't know if the MTA has announced anything like that, but I just feel that is also going to be on the rise, because I heard somebody on TV who, I don't know if it was an MTA rep, but somebody was talking on New York One that I saw at the gym, basically saying, well, there's still not enough money for us to fix the MTA and blah, blah, blah. So fares are going to have to go up, or prices are going to go up. Is it fair? And do you think that, the average Joe, let's just say, has been okey-doked by the people that run things so badly, at least in my lifetime, that they just don't trust anybody in a leadership role that's going to tell them, hey, if you make a few sacrifices, we can make a few changes and maybe fix, work to fix climate change or fix this situation. Because it seems like this was a thing that again, this happened within a matter of like a week, where they're announcing a fare hike already on top of
Right.
the tax that was supposed to be taking care of this.
But that is, of course, a 10-year. That's like a 10-year projection, I think, on the toll.
I get.
Because my brother's always said to me, my brother's very, very smart dude, and he's always said that like it's always kind of a myth. The fares don't pay, like they contribute, but it's always funding. It's always got to be billions of dollars of like taxpayer funded shit that really pays for, like the 3 stops on the 2nd Avenue subway over 4 decades.
Right.
Right. But so I get why people won't trust, but I still like, there is an element to me that's become very cynical the other way, which is like, right. So Trump improved his standing among voters because he's the trustworthy.
Oh, I'm not saying.
No, I know. But I think, not to be Mr. Big City guy, but I'm like, you can go from Far Rockaway to fucking Inwood for $2.90. It's pretty good.
I know.
The subway is still, I think, a bargain.
And I'm not necessarily denying that. I think that it's this idea that you're basically, again, optically, you're telling people that this is going to be something where over a long period of time, we're going to collect more money. We're going to use this to fix some of the infrastructure, and it will help the environment long term. And then literally so you want more people to use mass transit. And then the minute you force them to have to use mass transit, you raise the prices.
Who's running the MTA? James Dolan?
But like optically, that
what
looks
if he just
terrible.
tears off a mask and he's like, ha, ha, ha. No, of course.
You know what I mean? Like,
I get it, but and I know.
So why would you, if you were in this position
I'm
where you were
realistic.
I know, but like, don't you feel like it's easy for somebody to be like, well, fuck that. They want me. We're talking about this hypothetical, program where we're moving people to the middle of the country, subsidizing it. It's like, I don't know. I know I'm not the only one. I just feel very general.
China was like paying people to fucking have babies.
I know.
I remember.
Remember.
As big a piece of shit as China is, and I know they are our mortal enemy, and like they're gonna blow us up before I'm dead.
Yeah,
that's how we all go out. Whatever
yeah.
the case may be. But that is the one thing when they're like, we have a problem.
Yeah.
We're going to fix it.
I know.
And it's like
the trains aren't on time.
But I don't mean just that way. I mean like even though they burn more coal and Republicans will be like, China's the number 1 emitter. I bet you in 10 fucking years, they will have fucking redone their economy.
Sure.
In climate wise.
Yeah.
And then what will we be doing? Patting ourselves on the back for doing 10 more years of burning coal and oil?
Just wait till we get Greenland.
Oh God!
then we're really gonna be burning a lot of oil.
No, because when the ice melts and we all die from drowning, the people who survive can go into get the minerals. It's called minerals. They dig it up and they put it in there. Oh boy, we're gonna get those minerals. But the thing here that I have to be real is that this is all academic. Even when there are real solutions, we're at a point now where I go, nobody has any collective. There is no collective will. There is no caring for your fellow man. I don't mean obviously in a critical mass sense, where generations ago could just summon the will to do something big,
right?
And we can't. This is like asking somebody whose spine has been severed to walk.
Yeah,
we can't anymore. We don't care. We are self-centered to a degree that I think we have become more in touch with our animal selves in terms of how we view each other and how we view our own pleasure and desires and needs. And I think that's why I keep doing comedy, because it's so unpleasurable for me that it keeps me grounded. I go, remember, this is punishment for indulging yourself. Do for others, J.L.
Very Catholic.
It's very Opus Dei.
Yes.
Like comedy is my flogging.
Yeah.
Got to go on another trip to make $88 and get the middle finger from some redneck piece of trash. Lord, forgive me. I will tithe. I do tithe. Anyway, there's no like resolution here, which I think is fitting.
I know. Yeah.
Because it's like, I feel terrible for LA. I feel terrible for people who, I even felt a little bad for James Woods, who blocked me, because there is some, and I've said this about a lot of people. I don't like the death penalty. I don't like all sorts of things that we do that are sort of justified in the name of vengeance or retribution. I think we are degraded as a society to our bone marrow at this point. Mm-hmm. And so when I see James Woods, he's a piece of shit. But I'm like, but the feelings he must have losing his home, I don't wish that on him.
Right.
That's still terrible. Donald Trump's the only person I wish those feelings on. And the irony is, I think I feel that way because I know he wouldn't feel those things.
Right.
I know that I can throw that on him because he's like, I guess I'll buy another house.
Yep.
Who did this? I didn't do this. You did this. I know he's impervious to feelings. So I kind of feel safe saying, I hope you fucking lose everything, because he'll just convince himself he lost nothing.
Yeah, right.
But we're in such a dire, and the fact is this will keep happening, and we will never have that moment. Like I said last week about, like, you need to have surgery, but first you need a shot in the arm. And after the shot in the arm, we go, fuck that. Yeah,
dude, 9/11's like the last time we'll see that, where everybody was just like,
and thank God we had a Republican president. I mean that, like, because, you know, and honestly, if there was a terror attack today that was not Trump's fault, however you want to define that, it wouldn't be that. But there'd be a lot of people rallying to him. We're stupid. Yeah, there'd be a lot of people. Like, a Democrat, no way, he'd lose support.
Yeah,
like, oh, we've been attacked. Fuck you.
Especially that Muslim that we had in 2015. God. You know.
Secret Muslim.
Imagine
I'm glad you saw through it.
If he had been the president during 9/11, they would have been like, it's an inside job. Is this guy Muslim all along?
Yeah. So the point is, we need an overhaul of like from a different era. Like, we need a 1700s, like, we have to strike out and create new cities elsewhere.
Yeah.
A lot of construction jobs in that, fellas.
Definitely.
But that's what we need. That's honestly what we need. We need an all of the above approach for survival. We need Bill Pullman to give his Independence Day speech, but for climate.
Yeah.
You know, we need to build new cities. We need to get out of danger. We need to stop burning carbon. This is our effeminate beta cuck male liberal day. That's what we need, though, and we're never going to have it. So, on that note, comedy talk when we return. And we're back, Mike. How was that second break?
Oh, you know, I love my breaks.
It's the end of the world as we know it. Republicans don't mind. But so let's not say liberals don't really, plenty of progressives or left center don't really care either. They care rhetorically, but we're not going to do the hard work.
Yeah.
And that really do you think that's a losing campaign issue?
Doing the hard work?
Massive migration within the country.
Yeah, that's a loser for sure.
Yeah. How about I say this? No one has to leave where they live. You can live the same way no matter what. What a fucking dumb country. I watched Bill Maher's new special on HBO.
Our favorite.
Yeah, he is gay. And I don't mean that in a flippant way.
Yeah.
There is something so sassy gay about him.
Yeah.
It's a lot like it's like how Martin Short sometimes acts, except mean, which makes it more gay seeming. You know, what I mean? Martin Short's just like, hey guys, like it's like he's just zany.
Yeah,
mean and zany is gay.
Yeah,
like
it's very Project Runway.
Yes, Tim Gunn Maher. This is my new special. I watched his new special, and it's called "Is Anyone Else Seeing This?" Here's what I'll say about it, other than my jokes about him coming. Like, if you just watch him and you'll see kind of his, like, it's like very odd. Mm-hmm. His whole, like, I will say this. His political stuff, if you watch real time, it's like there's a lot of applause, you know, and he he has carved out his niche of like basically he says it like basically Republicans are worse, but Democrats are catching up, and I don't like a lot of things I see going on.
Yeah.
What I actually appreciate, he had a couple of funny lines within it, but a lot of it is just sort of like for people who like Bill Maher and don't really pay attention to social media or comedy. Mm-hmm. So you kind of get your like, oh yeah, this is like a jazzed up version of his new rules and stuff. But when he veered away from politics, I thought he went a little dirty, like sexually and stuff, but I actually thought there was some good stuff, which is one of those hints where you're like, most comics that get big, there was always a moment when they were a hot new comic, or like cutting edge, or doing things that got them noticed. So you don't just lose that completely. Like Jay Leno, everybody thought he was a complete hack on The Tonight Show, but he made a business decision. I'm going to be a mega rich person who wins the late night wars because this country is dumb.
Right.
But he was a very respected, highly touted, back of the room respected stand-up comic.
Yeah.
When he was at his peak before he got The Tonight Show. And Bill Maher just shows flashes of that, I think. But his politics stuff is like, yes, I agree with most of it. A lot more applause lines than laugh lines, though there were a few. But I'd almost be curious to see if Bill Maher, before he's like, he's 68 years old, I would almost be curious, like, Bill, what if I told you, write a new 50 minutes, take your time with your writers, take a couple of years, no politics. I'd actually be curious.
Yeah.
Genuinely. Like show me, like, even though I know that's your bread and butter, and I know you're not going to do it, and I know you don't listen to this podcast, but I'd be curious just as a thought. Actually, like, yeah, show me, like, if you took your time to do 50 minutes, like the 5 minutes of like sexual stuff that was kind of funny and completely apolitical, I'd just be curious, because I think he obviously got where he is from talent. We make fun of him. He can be very annoying now and kind of a self.
He wasn't always like. There was a time where I thought I loved him.
Right. But yeah, that's the review. But let's do Punch Down of the Week, Mike, because this one, there's been a lot of things recently coming close to breaking my spirit as a comedian, and this was one of them because it combines so many of the things I've complained about and come to dread about my comedy career. But I posted last night on X and on Facebook, and it got a great response on Facebook because those are the people who know me, obviously, most of them. But I said, liberals are such hypocrites. Now, if you follow me on X because of my Trump stuff, you've got to know that this is. I didn't suddenly do a gut-felt heel turn.
Uh-huh.
I said liberals are such hypocrites. All it takes is one fire for them to start saying retardant again. It's wordplay. Yeah. It's a solid wordplay joke, and the amount of people, you asshole, you have just shown your lack of character to all of X. And I deleted it off of X because I was just like, everybody loves saying, oh, the right wing is ruining social media. Try being a fucking comedian. These are people who have followed me and seemingly know my leanings, that's not a joke about fucking victims. It's literally a joke about the word retardant. Because I keep hearing fire retardant. So I was like, here's a little wordplay joke. Mm-hmm. No, I get it. If your fucking house is burning down or you're fleeing your home, I don't expect you to laugh. Just like I don't expect a joke about cancer to crack up everybody in the fucking stage 4 ward.
Yeah, the wing.
But this idea of like one joke is all it takes for someone who, and by the way, fans, it's almost like, can you resume being a shitty, non-present, non-ticket buying, non-video watching fan? Like, why do you have to check in now? Continue not being a good fan.
Yeah.
Oh, because nobody could know my material. If you had seen a post I did the day before, a lengthy post kind of highlighting the hypocrisy of the right on the fire issues, you couldn't say what you're saying about me of my low character and what a scumbag while people are dying, you're making these jokes. And it just made me like, so the punch down of the week is all those fucking people. But it was a jarring moment for me because I said, I have bought no goodwill with these fucking people. Like, it's bad enough I have to drag you around pretending like my social media numbers reflect a robust fan base. Between algorithms fucking me over and people like this liking my work, you don't. You hate Trump. And I wish everybody who just fucking hates Trump but has no sense of humor and is lazy and afraid to come out of their fucking house and is cheap as fuck would stay out of my bit. If I'm left with 5,000 followers, thank God. because now I got my 300. I got my Leonidas ready to go. And I'm not talking about some scumbag Rogan army of like, that's right. Just people who are smart, have pretty good hearts, and love comedy, even if it's irreverent sometimes. Is that too much to fucking ask? And I think it is. I think now it's if you're not a full-fledged scumbag willing to hurt feelings, you're not a real comedian. Right. You know what side that is. The other side is I just need to be affirmed. It doesn't even need to be funny. You just need to call yourself a comedian, affirm my own beliefs, and I will clap and say, love you. And meanwhile, I'm in the middle going, I'm a good person. I try to be a good person. I try to do the right thing. I think I do most of the time. But my comedy is not a place for angelic behavior. I don't try to, and that, as you can tell, that's not an edgelord joke.
Yeah.
That's not like talking about, how did you order your liberal? Extra crispy? Brr. I'm sure those are going over great on Rumble and Truth Social. I made a joke that was basically, that's why Mike didn't laugh, because it was really verging on pun territory.
And you know how I feel about that.
But Laura laughed, and she hates me. So she just hates my comedy. But so I knew it was a good witty joke.
Yeah.
But it was not, and to know that you have no buy-in from all these people, you're just like, I don't need you to like me. I don't need you to be my friend. But it's like, the work I've put out has developed no benefit of the doubt, no appreciation, no context.
Yeah. And
at that point, you just sort of go, what the fuck am I doing? Like, legitimately, what am I doing? The punch down of the week is like Thanos' fucking fist hammering my comedy career. Because you just sit there and go, just like climate change, just like we're not doing anything. Am I a hypocrite for even continuing to pursue comedy? Because the algorithms are against me. My friends don't care. And a lot of my followers are worse than dead weight. They're dead weight that try to drag me down into the fucking ocean. They're like anchors reaching up going, don't punch down, JL. I'm drowning. Somebody help me. Well, you're
cement shoes.
You're not a hot comedian anymore. Your career's not got heat. So no, drown, please, by all means. And I'll claim that I loved your stuff and miss you and make it about me when you actually die. So on that happy note about comedy, folks, I bid you farewell. I hope you have a great week. Thoughts, prayers, and donations to the folks in LA and the surrounding areas. But none of those thoughts or prayers are needed from the right wing. That's right. I got to earn them back, Mike. I got to let them know I'm a left-wing warrior that doesn't have jokes.
Yep.
So thank you for listening or watching. You know what to do because you don't do it. But reviews, blah, blah, blah. Share it. Tell a friend, whatever. I'll see you next Thursday.